Kanka Simdi Sana Tek Parka, Dermatan Akan, Hik Bolum Basliji Almadan, Tamaman Cinematic, Gizem Dalu, Ada Atmospheri, Ask, Scandal, Paparazzi Jeralimi, Yunanistan Dekusu Alay Slenmus 4000 Kalamay Yakin, Ultra Uzun Bur Metanyatsi Yorum. Baslijamizan Ruhu. World in shock face screaming in fear fire secret wedding in Greece? Can Yaman's island love mystery finally revealed, asterisk. Hazursan Basliorum. Bumetan. Voiceover plus scenario Karissimi, Akisi, Nefskasan Bur Tempeda Okwiabilesajan Si Kilda Yazildi. Greece had always been a land of myths, ancient gods, sun-soaked ruins, and quiet islands where secrets drifted in the wind like soft whispers. But no myth, no legend, no hidden tale of the Aegean Sea had ever prepared anyone for the mystery that began unfolding the moment King Yaman stepped onto the small island of Seraphos one warm summer afternoon. From the very first moment, there was something different about the way he carried himself, something quieter, more careful, almost as if he were trying not to disturb the fragile, invisible truth that surrounded him. The island was nearly empty, just a few locals, fishermen preparing their nets, and a couple of tourists who were too focused on their sunbeds to notice the Turkish superstar stepping onto the pier. He wore a loose white shirt, slightly unbuttoned, the sleeves rolled up, sunglasses hiding his eyes. But even with the disguise, even with the humble posture, a man like King could never truly blend in. The young woman working at the port cafe recognized him instantly but froze, unsure whether to scream, faint, or pretend she saw nothing. He smiled gently at her, raising a finger to his lips, a silent request. She nodded breathlessly. And with that single gesture, the island became a fortress of unspoken confidentiality. But secrets, especially romantic ones, were never safe for long. Not when it involved someone like him. Ken walked slowly up the narrow path leading from the waterfront toward a secluded villa at the top of the hill. Seraphos wasn't like Mykonos or Santorini. It wasn't overrun by photographers, influencers, or crowds. It was quiet. Private. Hidden. A place chosen deliberately for someone who wanted to disappear from the world. Or perhaps, to commit to something the world wasn't supposed to know. Rumors had already been swirling online for days. A private jet landing in Athens. A last-minute ferry passenger whose face was hidden under a hood. A woman's voice captured faintly in the background of a fan's video at the airport, gentle, soft, speaking Turkish. And then the biggest clue of all. A white dress bag being carried into the jet by an assistant, quickly, discreetly, with no explanation. Fans around the world were convinced a secret wedding was happening somewhere in Greece. But no one knew where. Or with whom. Or why now. The villa at the top of the hill was small, surrounded by olive trees and bougainvillea, with a view that stretched endlessly over the deep blue sea. The wooden gate creaked softly as Kim pushed it open. Inside, the scent of jasmine filled the warm air. Shadows danced on the walls as the sun began its slow descent behind the cliffs. He walked into the courtyard, took a deep breath, and for the first time that day, his shoulders relaxed. She was there. A young woman stood near the table, arranging 2 glasses of iced water. Her hair caught the golden light, creating a soft halo around her silhouette. She turned slowly, and the moment their eyes met, the tension in the air shifted into something tender. "You made it," she whispered. Ken smiled, stepping closer. "Of course I did." Her name wasn't widely known. Not yet. Not officially. But whispers online had begun to attach her to him, sometimes correctly, sometimes wildly inaccurately. Some believed she was an actress. Others thought she was a model. Some even said she was just a friend from Italy. But none of them knew the truth. None of them knew how many nights they had spent talking, how many quiet moments had shaped their growing bond, or how many times Ken had flown under the radar just to spend a few hours with her. What the world saw was speculation. What the island was about to witness was something entirely different. She moved toward him, standing close enough to feel his warmth. "Did anyone see you?" she asked softly. "A few," he admitted. But they won't talk. Not yet. Her fingers brushed his lightly, the touch so delicate it was almost hesitant. Are you sure about this? She asked. Ken didn't answer immediately. He looked at her, searching her face, memorizing every detail. Then he nodded slowly. I've never been more sure. The mystery surrounding their trip wasn't just about love. It wasn't just about escape or privacy. There had been paperwork. Meetings. Phone calls whispered in the late hours of the night. And the bag. The white dress bag. She had pretended not to notice it when his assistant delivered it to the villa earlier that morning, but her heart had been racing ever since. Was it for her? Was he planning something? Was this truly happening? They sat down at the small table overlooking the sea, the soft hum of waves rising to meet them. For a moment, they didn't speak, just listened, breathed, and existed in the quiet space between the world and their own fragile truth. You know this won't stay secret, she said finally. Not forever. I don't need forever, he replied. Just tonight. His voice was calm, steady, but full of meaning. She understood. He wasn't running. He wasn't hiding. He was preparing. Whatever was happening between them, whatever decision they had come to the island to make, it wasn't casual. It wasn't temporary. And it wasn't something either of them wanted to announce with cameras pushed into their faces. The sun dipped lower, turning the sky pink, then orange, then a deep fiery red. And as the light changed, something in Can's expression changed with it. He stood up slowly, walked toward the small wooden box resting near the doorway of the villa, and opened it. Inside was a thin gold bracelet, a traditional Greek piece, simple but symbolic. She gasped softly when she saw it. Can. He held it up, letting it catch the last rays of sunlight. This island, he said, is known for its old traditions. One of them is that two people who choose each other exchange a piece like this. Not a ring, not a ceremony, not paperwork. Just a symbol. A promise. Her breath trembled. Are you sure this is what you want? He stepped closer. I'm sure this is where I want to start. She looked down at the bracelet, then back up at him. There was no hesitation in his eyes, no doubt, no fear of what the world would say. And as the wind carried the scent of salt and jasmine around them, she realized something she had been afraid to admit even to herself. She had been hoping for this moment. He reached for her wrist. She offered it slowly. The bracelet slid on perfectly. Silence. A long, heavy silence filled with emotion neither of them dared to speak. Then she laughed shakily as tears filled her eyes. So, does this make us? He smiled. Whatever we want it to make us. But the island had other plans for their privacy. At the bottom of the hill, unnoticed by them, a figure crouched behind the stone wall, camera pointed toward the villa, smoke from a cigarette drifting into the evening air. A paparazzo from Athens. Not just any paparazzo, one of the most relentless in the country. He had followed the rumors for weeks, traced flight records, interviewed locals, bribed ferry employees. And when he finally saw Can step onto that pier, he knew he had struck gold. Now, with his lens focused on the couple in the courtyard, he captured the moment. The bracelet. The closeness. The intimacy. Click. 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 Each shutter sound was a nail sealing the coffin of their privacy. Inside the villa, completely unaware, the couple moved closer, foreheads touching, hands intertwined. They were lost in their own universe, wrapped in the soft warmth of a moment that felt stolen from time. Until the phone rang. Can's head snapped up. He frowned. No one was supposed to call. He checked the screen, his manager. He hesitated before answering. Yvette? The voice on the other end was frantic. Where are you? Are you alone? Are you safe? I'm fine, Ken said slowly. Why? There was a pause. Then, because someone just sent us photos. His blood ran cold. Photos of, what? He asked, though he already knew. Of you, his manager said quietly. And her. Together. On an island. Tonight. She froze when she heard the words, her breath catching. How? She whispered. Ken closed his eyes, frustration building like a storm behind them. We're not alone, he murmured. He scanned the hillside. His heart tightened. A glint, metal catching the moonlight. A lens. The paparazzo realized he'd been spotted and bolted, running down the rocky path toward the far end of the beach. Ken didn't think. He reacted. He sprinted toward the gate, down the path, chasing him with a speed fueled by anger, fear, and desperation. She stood at the doorway, hands trembling, watching the scene unfold like a nightmare she couldn't stop. Sand flew beneath the paparazzo's feet as he stumbled, clutching the camera to his chest. Ken closed the distance between them rapidly. Stop, he shouted. The man panicked, tripped, fell onto the beach, rolls of waves nearly touching his legs. But he didn't let go of the camera. This is my job, the paparazzo yelled. This is my life. Ken shot back. For a moment, neither moved, just stared at each other through the thick tension. Then the man stood up slowly, raising the camera. People will know, he said. Tonight. Tomorrow. Forever. You can't hide this. Ken clenched his jaw. I wasn't hiding, he said. I just wanted one night without the world watching. The man hesitated, just long enough for Ken to realize that the damage was already done. The photos existed. They would spread. They would ignite chaos. And nothing could prevent what was coming. By the time he returned to the villa, she was crying softly, not out of fear, but out of heartbreak for what he was about to face. He reached for her immediately, pulling her into his arms. It's okay, he whispered. We'll face it. But you didn't want it like this, she said. No, he admitted. But maybe this is how the truth was meant to come out. They sat together until the first light of dawn crept over the horizon. The sea shimmered silver. Birds began to stir. And somewhere across the world, the first headlines were posted. World in shock, Yaman spotted in Greece with mystery woman. Secret ceremony? Bracelet exchange sparks wedding rumors. Island love, Yaman's hidden romance exposed. Her phone buzzed relentlessly. His manager called again. His assistant texted nonstop. Producers panicked. Fans went wild. The world had discovered their secret before they could define it themselves. She looked at him with tear-filled eyes. What do we do now? He took her hands gently. Now? We tell the truth. And the truth is. He smiled, brushing his thumb across her knuckles. The truth is that you are the only thing in my life that has felt real in a long time. Her tears fell freely then, not from fear, but from relief. He stood, pulling her into his arms as the morning sun rose behind them, casting a golden glow across the Aegean. We didn't plan a wedding, he whispered. Not yet. But what happened last night? That was real. And if the world wants to call it a secret wedding, let them. I'm done hiding how I feel. And with those words, the island mystery became something far deeper than a rumor. It became the beginning of a love story the world wasn't ready for. But one they would never forget.